In the UK, there is a patriarchy that's stepping into the fold in boxing that people will need to take a closer look at. The Dubois, a family embarking on legacy in boxing. Let's talk about what's going on with Daniel Dubois and his future with his dad leading the way. On Saturday, September 21st, there was a heavyweight championship fight that hadn't had significance for the past 30 years as it did when Lennox Lewis took on Frank Bruno. For history's sake, we had a card that had in the main event Anthony Joshua challenging heavyweight title holder Daniel Dubois for his IBF belt. And the scenarios were so close to what happened 30 years ago. It's an amazing thing that shows you in boxing, history does repeat itself. What was really remarkable was you had two homegrown British fighters over the crown jewel, the heavyweight title. And Joshua, who already had the luxury of being a two-time unified champion, was taking on a young up-and-coming Daniel Dubois, whom they even had history of working together in the gym when Daniel was quite young and had yet to turn pro. But time waits for no one. Daniel has grown up quickly, whereas Joshua, whom I have indicated many times over, has had a designed career path that could net him not only the most maximum of economic opportunity, but also being steered clear of dangerous threats to his position in the sport, which is what a good management is supposed to do for a fighter once they're on top. But you still have to keep your competitive edge. And the past experience with Dubois showed something that was a precursor into what may be in Joshua's future. The fact that Joshua had difficulty with Dubois when he was yet still a teenager and hadn't yet to be a real full-fledged pro meant that Joshua's competitive edge hadn't seen growth. And that was on display when they fought, because the 4 fights he had before Dubois, there was not one fighter there that was a world-class contending fighter that could have competed for a championship. In the meantime, Dubois has, in his last 3 fights, not including now his fight with Joshua, had taken on the likes of fighters like Usyk and Jarrell Miller and Filip Hrgovic, all fighters who tested him in a different type of way. Yes, he has the 2 losses on his record to Usyk and Joe Joyce, but what he has also come through with is getting better as a fighter overall. In the fight against Miller, who outweighed him over 100 pounds, you could see that Dubois had moments in that fight where he was trying to figure some things out. You know, with all of the stoppages that he's had, you know, out of now 24 fights, he's got 22 KOs. And Miller was the type of a challenge that he had to find out that his stamina did carry him through. Though tired, he still had the power, and he was able to come back and get rid of Miller late in the fight. Against Hrgovic, whom he had difficulty with in sparring as a younger fighter, Hrgovic had had his way with him and really came into the promotion not respecting the advancements that Dubois has taken in his career, and suffered badly as a result. Too stubborn to get out of the way of Dubois' punches, and suffered cuts and a battering that we don't know what the long-term damage will be. And out of those two matches, the Miller and Hrgovic fights, Danny's dad played a prominent role by talking to him from ringside, re-encouraging him, re-galvanizing him and his focus. Now his trainer, Don Charles, has been instrumental in his growth from his original loss to Joe Joyce, and he had only worked with Danny, I think, once when he was taking on Alexander Usyk. So what we have a chance to see now is, going forward, the developmental of Dubois is important to his success. The jab that he has reminds me a lot of the old George Foreman's like shotgun jab, which is like a lot of fighters' right hand. And Don Charles is also speaking to him in a similar voice cadence like his dad, a man who is God-fearing but also pure of the heart and will tell you the truth. He's been working it that way with Danny, and they have become a great tandem. It's actually a trio with David Dubois, Danny's dad, and Don Charles. There had been rumors leading up to this fight that Danny might be having some difficulties behind the scenes, but that's been dispelled by all parties. And besides, winning solves issues, doesn't it? And as Joshua found himself on the canvas in the 5th round of this fight, the one thing that I was reminded of was how many times he has avoided fighters that could have given him the growth arc that he needed. Whether he won the bouts or not, it's important to have that so you'll understand what you really need to work on and stop denying or lying to yourself or avoiding what may be your own personal issues. We've seen Danny take that turn and grow from his learned mistakes. Joshua has yet to do that. And one of the funny things is his promoter is already talking about putting him in a direct rematch against Dubois, whose record now has risen to 22-2 with 21 KOs. That's not what he needs, but I'll tell you what Dubois needs. He needs to continue to lean on the family support that he's getting from his dad, his brothers, and his dynamite fighter of a sister, Caroline, who at one point I was saying was the big fighter of the family, only to see Daniel surpass her with his latest performances. If he keeps this up, he can go very far, but Dave Dubois is key. This is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know your thoughts about where you see Daniel going forward. Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.